We're all looking at the same thing. Thank you for joining us for another perspective from the Sag Nasty If Anybody Asks Me podcast. Don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment. For more videos, please subscribe to the channel. Or don't. Just sit back, say nothing, do nothing, and watch as we bare our souls to you. We got it from here. Sag Nasty.
He goes, well, you said you were coming to Michigan. I'm like, what? I'm like, you know, he goes, don't you remember when you were up in Lloyd Carr's office and he asked you if you wanted to play at Michigan and you said yes? I'm like, how? Was you verbally committed? I'm like, well, no, you played at Lloyd Carr, didn't you?
You're right. So ours was different. I want to give an answer for you that I think I had to read between the lines. One of the big reasons that we have a divergence is your character. And I think that's a huge deal, is that big stew foundation that you had. I think that was a big deal versus I was way more combative, more of an asshole. Not like I was mean or something like that, but I don't know, feisty. I don't know what word you would say. Like Lubert getting mad at me. He's not getting mad at you like that.
I think
Boswell, me and Boswell button heads and stuff like that.
I think you took things maybe a little more personal than I did.
I took it more extreme too.
Yeah, we're like, I knew it was.
And that shuts doors versus you. The door stays open. Like the Mike Strong thing. The door's closed for me. You left it open with what's his name? Forrester.
Well, yeah, remember you had the meeting with him and it went terrible.
I shut the door, right?
Yeah,
but for you, it stayed open, and that's a really big difference. One small thing, but it matters.
I think
you're more likable in that way.
I think I was just able to bite my tongue.
Yeah, but it made you more likable. Not just likable. Door stayed open.
I was able to be a little bit more what you'd probably call political, right? Where
yeah, that's the other word too, bureaucratic.
Even though I knew, but after time though, that wore off. Like
now you got worse than me. Yeah, we like switch positions in a way.
Yes.
Right.
You know, I wasn't confrontational, but I would get very, when I knew it was personal and not business, that really bothered me. That really bothered me. When a coach, I knew specifically I was being attacked personally, not professionally. And I would privately call the coach out. And that probably pissed a lot of guys off. And I got blackballed because of it. But I'm happy because I never kissed anybody's ass, right? Just like you. I said what I believed. And whatever happened, happened. You know, I'd rather do
relationship with Rodgers, that could easily be a shut door as a rival, but because of your character, door is open. You went there. I'm not going there even though I was friends with Rodgers, but like that door stayed open because of that foundation of like you said, like
that's all just personality.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, and I'm glad because I'm even now more I know we get a little feisty or whatever, which is fine, and I like that. I like to get that back and forth because it keeps my brain. I need that type of interaction. So a lot of times me like asking questions or whatever, it's a way for my brain to stay active. You know what I'm saying? And I get a chance to speak to somebody who I respect athletically, I respect as a man, I respect intelligent wise. So sometimes for me, it's not anything with you. It's just, I'm almost just trying to, maybe again, just keep my brain active, I guess is what I'm saying. So, where was I going with that?
Well, I'll keep going. It's like that is not a big part of the separation, but I'll give you credit for that, of making sure that you don't burn those bridges and don't close those doors. Imagine me at that Michigan camp. I'm going to be salty. I'm going to be sulking. And maybe you were, but you were able to hold on to it a little bit better. Yeah, but you hold on it just a little bit better. Just a little bit.
Well, not necessarily, because so after that year, that whole junior year, they gave me tickets to every football game, the basketball games. They're calling me. Fred Jackson's coming up to the school. They're asking me about hey, how about this? And congrats on this. And hey, come down to this. And so they were the first one to give me a scholarship. Well, then all of a sudden, you know how it is. Once one school, people got to follow suit, right? So then all these other schools started getting involved, and you get 5 visits, right? You get 5 visits.
Okay.
So, so you get 5 visits, and it's like, I want to say like about January of my junior year, I'm talking to other schools, Purdue and Michigan State and, all these other schools. And all of a sudden Fred Jackson calls me up and says, hey man, what's this deal? I hear you're going to Purdue on an official visit in Wisconsin and, all these schools. I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, you said you were coming to Michigan. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, I didn't. He goes, don't you remember when you were up in Lloyd Carr's office and he asked you if you wanted to play at Michigan and you said yes? I'm like, yeah. He goes, you verbally committed to us. I'm like, no, I didn't. I never said I'm accepting a scholarship. And he goes, well, what are you calling Lloyd Carr a liar? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm like 16 years old. They're playing these games, right? Because they wanted me to commit early. And I'm like, I want to go, and right now, Michigan, you are the place I want to go. I want to go and compare you to these other schools and go, yeah, Michigan's definitely the place I want to go. But I'm going, okay. So then from January of my junior year to 2 weeks before signing date, which is February, the second Tuesday in February, absolutely no communication with Michigan. Nothing.
Do you think they're waiting for you or no?
Well, no, they were just expecting me.
Yeah, that's it. Like they expected you to sign.
I'm a Michigan guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm from here. I hadn't had I hadn't really blown up yet. Like you're gonna wait on Michigan. You know what I mean? Like one of those deals. And I'm thinking, well, I know that I'm not the only safety you're looking at. You're Michigan. You have hundreds of safeties. And I'm thinking, this is the time when you're supposed to really be whining and dining me, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what if I go there and I don't perform well? You guys aren't going to give a shit about me. If you're showing this type of attitude now. So remember I told you sophomore year I went to that camp. I was the man, right? So the camp's coming up and I'm like, hey, Fred, should I come down? Do you want me to come down? And he's like, oh, but sure. Yeah, and I'm going to introduce you to the new DB coach. So me and Andy Wilson drive down, right? And it was just supposed to be at that point, I was just doing 1-day deals where you kind of go. I'm not working. I'm just meeting the coaches. It's almost like a little small recruiting trip, right? Because I already did my tryout deal.
Yeah.
Had won the 100-meter dash at this point, right?
Yeah, then you had that too.
We're going down there. No one's answering their phones. And we're like, it's kind of weird. So then I walk up to registration and they're like, oh, you're not registered. And I'm like,
yeah,
where's Fred Jackson? Well, I don't know. He's not around here. And I'm like, they're like, well, I'm like, I'm supposed to come down for a 1-day deal. And they're like, well, that's going to cost this and this. And I'm like, just felt like an idiot. Because I'm expecting the same treatment I had the whole rest of the time where they're all over me. And all of a sudden they had me I go down there just to kind of meet the coaches. And they had me with the strength coach with the regular, just kids who just want to be at Michigan camp, doing all these workouts. I'm sweating. And I'm like, what? And Andy Wilson's like, Stu, what in the fuck is going on here? So I'm like, I don't know. So finally I saw the DB coach finally came and found me oh yeah, Stu, you know what? Come talk to us after lunch. I looked at, and he walked away. I looked at Andy. I said, we're fucking out of here. And I got in the car and fucking left. Never talked to them again. What?
Good choice.
Oh yeah. Well then 2 weeks before signing date, Fred Jackson calls me up. Hey Stu, what's going on? I said, what's going on? What the fuck do you mean what's going on, Fred? Where you been for the last year? Oh, hey, a little miscommunication, da-da-da. And I ripped into him, dude. And at the end of it, he goes, here's Lloyd Carr's number. He's got a scholarship waiting for you. Here's his home number. Give him a call. And obviously I never made that call, but that day I said,
scholarship, man.
I said, Andy, we're fucking out of here. Fuck you. I don't give a shit.
Michigan scholarship.
I didn't grow up watching Michigan. I don't give a fuck about you guys.
Yep.
Fuck you. I'm going to go down to where someone actually appreciates me. And I'm just not just some another guy they sign. And, you know, they don't give a shit about me. They don't care if I transfer. If I'm not the starter or get hurt, they're not going to give a shit. They're just going to replace me.